Some scars are visible, etched into skin as reminders of battles fought and survived. But others run deeper, hidden beneath the surface, shaping the way we see the world and ourselves. Suffering does not just leave marks on the heart. It carves itself into the very fabric of who we become. If you have suffered too much, you don't need anyone to tell you. You feel it in the habits you've formed, the reflexes you've developed, the traits you carry like second nature. These traits are not merely consequences of pain. They are also the weapons and armor you wield to navigate a world that has hurt you. But have you ever wondered why you care so deeply, even when it hurts? Why do you insist on doing everything yourself, even when help is offered? Why do you chase perfection to the point of exhaustion? Why do you build walls around your emotions, keeping everyone at a distance? Or why do you feel the need to control everything, as if letting go would make your world collapse? These are not just personality quirks. They are the imprints of suffering, the fingerprints of past wounds that refuse to fade. But this isn't about labeling yourself as broken. It's about understanding, about recognizing how hardship has shaped you into someone both resilient and tender, cautious yet daring. Here are 5 profound traits of those who have suffered too much. Perhaps in reading them, you will recognize yourself or someone you love. And maybe, just maybe, you will come to see that even in pain, there is an undeniable beauty. 1. Heightened empathy, a gift or a curse? Those who have walked through the fires of suffering do not emerge unscathed. They emerge transformed. Their hearts, once ordinary, now beat with an intensity that sets them apart, attuned to frequencies others cannot hear. Pain has sharpened their senses, making them hyper-aware of the unspoken burdens people carry. They can recognize sadness in the slight hesitation of a friend's voice, detect heartbreak in the way someone avoids eye contact, and sense exhaustion behind a well-practiced smile. But this gift of deep perception comes with an unrelenting weight. The world's sorrows seem to collect within them, pooling in the corners of their soul, refusing to be ignored. They absorb emotions like sponges, taking in not just their own struggles, but also those of everyone around them. A passing frown, an unreturned text, a subtle shift in tone, things that others dismiss as insignificant become puzzles they feel compelled to solve, wounds they instinctively want to mend. They are the ones who always offer a listening ear, who stay behind after work because a colleague looks like they need someone to talk to. They are the friends who answer late-night calls without hesitation, who give away their last ounce of energy just to make sure someone else is okay. They are the quiet caretakers, the emotional anchors, the ones who sense storms before they even arrive. But the question remains, who heals the healer? Because no matter how much they give, no matter how fiercely they love, they often find themselves standing alone in their own moments of pain. They have spent so long being strong for others that asking for help feels unnatural, almost impossible. Their empathy, while beautiful, is also their greatest vulnerability. They carry the weight of the world, yet rarely let anyone carry even a fraction of their own burdens. And so, they continue feeling deeply, loving intensely, healing silently. But every now and then, when the world is quiet and they allow themselves to exhale, they may wonder, what would it be like if, just once, someone saw their pain the way they see everyone else's? 2. Hyper-independence, a shield or a prison? I don't need anyone. It is more than just a statement. It is a vow whispered in the silence of disappointment, reinforced by every instance of broken trust, every moment of abandonment, every time they reached out and were met with nothing but empty space. It is not merely a preference for solitude, it is a survival mechanism, a shield crafted from necessity rather than choice. They were not born this way. Once they were open, trusting, willing to lean on others, willing to believe in the safety of outstretched hands. But life is an unkind sculptor, and through pain and disillusionment, it carved away their softness, shaping them into warriors of solitude. They learned, through trial and heartache, that reliance on others often led to disappointment. That asking for help meant exposing themselves to the risk of being ignored. That vulnerability was not a refuge, but a weapon others could turn against them. And so they adapted. They became their own anchors, their own safety nets, their own providers of comfort. When the weight of life became too much, they did not turn to another for support. They bore it alone, as they always had, as they always would. Themselves that self-sufficiency was not just a virtue, but a necessity. That needing others was a weakness they could no longer afford. To the outside world, they are pillars of strength, the ones who never ask for help, the ones who always seem to have it together, the ones who never falter, never break, never lean too heavily on anyone else. They are the ones who stand tall even when they are exhausted, who carry burdens that would break lesser souls, who face every storm alone, because somewhere along the way they learned that they had no other choice. But beneath this fortress of resilience lies something more fragile, a deep, unspoken fear. A fear of abandonment so profound that it feels safer to never ask for support at all. A fear of being a burden, of being too much, of taking up space they were never truly sure they were allowed to occupy. A fear of reaching out, only to find that no one is reaching back. And so, the very independence that once empowered them has become their cage. The walls they built to protect themselves do not only keep out pain, they keep out warmth, connection, intimacy. They keep out the quiet reassurance of knowing that, should they stumble, there would be hands ready to steady them. They keep out the possibility that maybe, just maybe, they don't have to do everything alone. Yet admitting that feels impossible. Because if they admit they are tired, that they too need support, what if no one comes? What if the world confirms what they have feared all along, that they were always meant to carry everything on their own? And so, they remain locked in a paradox of their own making, desperate for connection, yet terrified of it, longing for the comfort of another's presence, yet pushing it away before it can get too close, wanting, more than anything, to believe that they don't have to be alone, but unable to shake the belief that they do. And in the quietest moments when the exhaustion seeps into their bones, when the weight of self-sufficiency becomes unbearable, they might finally whisper the question they have buried deep within them, the one they dare not voice aloud: if I fall, will anyone be there to catch me? 3. Perfectionism, a race with no finish line. For those who have endured too much, perfectionism is not just a habit, it is a survival mechanism. It is the voice in their head whispering that if they are flawless, they will be safe. If they never make a mistake, they will never be criticized. If they are always exceeding expectations, they will never be abandoned. There is a fine line between ambition and perfectionism, but for them, that line vanished long ago. What started as a desire to succeed has transformed into an unrelenting pursuit of an impossible standard. They push themselves beyond exhaustion, setting the bar higher and higher, never allowing themselves a moment to rest. Success to them is not a celebration, it is merely a brief pause before the next challenge. They do not bask in their achievements because in their minds, there is always something that could have been done better, faster, more efficiently. But perfection is an illusion, a finish line that keeps moving farther the closer they get. No matter how much they accomplish, they cannot silence the nagging voice that tells them it's not enough, that they are not enough. So they keep running. They keep striving. They tell themselves that if they can just be better, maybe then they will finally feel at peace. Yet the cruel irony is that peace does not exist at the end of this race. There is no point where they will suddenly feel worthy, no moment where they will finally believe they have done enough. And in their desperate attempt to outrun their own self-doubt, they risk losing sight of the very things that make life meaningful: connection, joy, and the quiet beauty of imperfection. Perhaps the hardest lesson for them is this: they were never meant to be perfect. They were only meant to be human. 4. Emotional guarding protection or isolation. Don't let them see you cry. How many times have they whispered that to themselves? How many times have they swallowed their pain, buried their emotions, and forced a smile because they believed that showing weakness would only invite disappointment or betrayal? For those who have suffered deeply, vulnerability is not a choice, it is a risk. One they have learned is rarely worth taking. They were taught, either through harsh words or painful experiences, that emotions make them targets. That to cry is to be seen as fragile. That to express their feelings is to hand someone a weapon that could one day be used against them. So they built walls high, impenetrable walls, reinforced with silence, deflection, and a carefully curated image of strength. They mastered the art of appearing unaffected, of nodding and saying, "I'm fine," even when their world is falling apart. But walls do not just keep pain out, they also keep love out. The same barriers that shield them from rejection also prevent them from truly connecting with others. They have become so accustomed to hiding their true selves that even when someone offers genuine care, they hesitate. Can they be trusted? Will they leave if they see the parts of me that I keep hidden? They laugh at the right moments, engage in conversations, and even offer comfort to others, yet there is always a part of them that remains unreachable. And in the quiet of the night, when they are alone with their thoughts, they may wonder, is this loneliness the price of my protection? Because the truth is, no one can truly love them if they are never allowed to see them. And maybe, just maybe, the greatest act of courage is not in enduring alone, but in letting someone in. 5. The need for control, stability, or shackles. For some, control is a preference, a way to stay organized, to keep life moving smoothly. But for others, it is much more than that. It is a survival mechanism, a lifeline, an unspoken promise to themselves that they will never again be caught off guard by life's cruel unpredictability. It is not about being demanding, difficult, or inflexible. It is about protection. About ensuring that the chaos that once shattered them never has the chance to do so again. These individuals do not just enjoy order, they require it. Every meticulously crafted plan, every carefully structured routine, every double-checked detail is a silent attempt to ward off the unknown. Because they know what it feels like to be blindsided, to have the world they trusted suddenly collapse beneath them, to be left scrambling in the wreckage of something they never saw coming. And so they made a vow, never again. Control for them is safety. It is the illusion of certainty in a world that has proven itself uncertain. It is the comfort of knowing what comes next, of eliminating as many risks as possible, of shielding themselves from the pain of the unexpected. They anticipate worst-case scenarios, not because they are pessimists, but because they believe preparation is the only way to avoid devastation. They manage, organize, and take responsibility for everything, not just for themselves, but often for those around them as well, because deep down, they fear that if they don't, everything will spiral into chaos. But control is a double-edged sword. What begins as a shield soon becomes a cage. The need to control every outcome does not just keep the bad out, it keeps life out. It turns spontaneity into a threat rather than a thrill. It turns uncertainty into something to be feared rather than embraced. It convinces them that security is only found in predictability, even when that predictability robs them of joy. They become prisoners of their own caution. They hesitate to take risks, to deviate from the plan, to step into the unknown. They struggle to trust not just in others, but in the natural flow of life itself. Because trusting means letting go, and letting go means surrendering to the very unpredictability they have spent their entire lives trying to escape. And yet, in their relentless pursuit of control, they may not realize what they are losing in return. They do not see how their careful planning prevents them from experiencing the beauty of the unexpected, how their tight grip on life keeps them from discovering the serendipitous moments that can only come when things do not go as planned, how the most meaningful connections, the most transformative experiences, the most unforgettable memories are often born from the very chaos they have spent so long avoiding. Control feels like stability, but sometimes it is just another kind of fear in disguise. Perhaps for them, the greatest act of courage is not in tightening their grip, but in loosening it, in trusting that not every unknown is a threat, and accepting that not every deviation from the plan will lead to disaster, in believing that life can still be safe, even when it is unpredictable. And maybe, just maybe, the most profound healing will not come from controlling every outcome, but from allowing themselves to simply let go. Conclusion. If you see yourself in these words, if these words resonate with you, it is not a sign of weakness. It is proof of all that you have endured. It is a testament to your resilience, your strength, and the battles you have fought, both seen and unseen. You have carried wounds that no one else could see. You have shouldered burdens that were far too heavy, yet you kept moving forward. You have been your own protector, your own healer, your own safe haven when the world felt unkind. But now, take a moment to ask yourself, is it still necessary to carry all this armor? Once it was essential. It kept you safe. It helped you navigate a world that did not always show you kindness. But is it still serving you, or is it only weighing you down? Are these defenses still keeping you safe, or are they keeping you from truly living? Perhaps it is time to set some of it down, to loosen your grip on the pain that no longer needs to define you, to stop bracing for battles that may never come, to allow yourself to rest without guilt, to accept love without fear, to embrace softness without seeing it as weakness, and most importantly, to let yourself heal.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.